everybody, welcome to Evil Ted's Coffee Talk. I'm Evil Ted. We got some coffee, and my guest this time is Danika. And I'm a huge fan because Danika also, aka Comic Book Girl 19, a lot of you people know her as that.
Yes.
Fantastic. And Danika, my burning question with you, starting off with this show, is how long have you doing YouTube? I've
been on YouTube since like April of 2012, in the before times.
2012. I think I started a little bit later. I was 2014 when I started. And that is me. I am so sorry. Hold on, guys. I got to stop.
We got a little alarm situation.
Oh, I am a professional on my stream.
Same.
Real quickly, guys, how this show is run. I do the first half hour. Danika and I chat. And we talk to each other. And the second half hour, we will take questions. So people are coming in there and saying things. I'm not ignoring you. I will get to you in the next 30 minutes. I want to spend this time to talk to Danika. I want this time, okay? Don't be selfish. All right, real quickly. So you said you were YouTube. I know that I'm proud of you because I think it's great that you were like, you start off as comic book girl, but you have transformed and moved on. But my burning question was, what was the cause of the transformation? Were you actually done with Comic Book Girl, or were you done with YouTube setup? Or
I was in a really weird spot because I started the Comic Book Girl 19 channel with my ex, and he was my director and he was my editor, and that was, he was a robot. So so when we broke up, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to continue the channel on my own, and I had to take time to learn how to edit myself and learn how to use the equipment and do all this stuff. And I did, and I was able to come back. And in the meantime, I was still like streaming on Twitch, doing book clubs and things like that. But then I kind of, like I said, taught myself how to do all these things, and came back and started doing YouTube again. And I also just felt like too, like as comic book girl, and I feel like I'm a woman now. I feel like I needed to transcend the girlness. And I also I talk about so much more stuff than comic books, obviously. And I always have.
And the thing is, can I just say really quickly, is that the knowledge of comic books of you was astounding.
Oh, thank you. There's certain titles I know about.
Yeah, certain titles but so much that where you were so recognized in the comic book world that you were also, you hosted a show called it was a Marvel show.
Yeah, Marvel's Off the Rack.
Marvel Off the Rack, and did had you host that? Okay, and did they reach out to you, right?
Yes.
Because of your popularity.
Yes.
That was self-made.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So Marvel guys reached out to her and said, we need somebody to connect with these fans, and what's better than a fan who loves comic books who has their own channel. That was remarkable. So
no, that was a really interesting experience, and it was one of the highest levels of production that I've worked in.
Because they had a set and everything.
Oh yeah, it was huge. I mean, it was like a real set with real, like, the whole thing, and it's so, like, it was so interesting because as the host, like, if I fucked up, everybody would go home late. Like, the whole shoot kind of really depended upon me.
Wow.
And so I had to make sure that, like, I hit my lines and did what I needed to do so that I wasn't holding up the production. And I did good. Like, it worked out well. Like, and I learned a lot, and I got to meet a lot of interesting people and interview a lot of interesting people, and the shoot went really well. It was very exhausting, though. It was like a 2-week hardcore stuff, and then I was just like, like dead afterwards.
And that's why we do our own shows.
Yes.
It's like the responsibility of people don't realize. You also, a big shout out, also Danika did a TED Talks.
Oh yeah, my TEDx talk,
And you did a TEDx Talks, and I watched it, and it's so good. But the thing that's interesting is people don't realize when you do TED Talk, you're not up there improvising like stand up. They want to know exactly what you're going to say. They want your pacing. So you have to basically get out your entire thing, what you want to say, written out, rehearse it, have it memorized. You
can't have notes. And you have to have it in under 15 minutes around there, like we're under. Like, you have to know when that is.
And I thought about it, and when I found out about that, I'm like, I am out.
Yeah.
I am out. And Adam Savage did one, and you did one. But I really, because I like your talk about the X-Men and people being different and how you bonded with those guys.
Yes.
I love that for the same reasons, the outsiders and stuff. But anyway, okay, I have some notes. I have cheat notes.
Oh,
really
you can use that here. We're not on TED.
Yeah, we're on TEDx Talks, so we can actually cheat and wing this thing. Well, I already asked the YouTube thing, and you got that. So, you host the Marvel Show Off the Rack. I know, again, what I love about your Twitch stream. You have dedicated fan base too, but you are doing you do readings, and you have a club. You have you originally had a Watchmen club, right?
Yeah, we had it started with Dune Club.
Yeah, the Dune Club.
And then we also did Watchmen Club. We've done Inkle Club, the Jodorowsky comic with Mobius. We've done War Club, where we did the 33 Strategies of War, and we've read all 6 Frank Herbert Dune books together.
And getting wrap your head around this, guys. She takes the book and she reads aloud.
No, I don't read aloud. No, you got to read it.
You got to read it. Then you guys recap on it.
I do a whole recap on it. Though I go through every single chapter and I kind of recap what happens and then like talk about like the main things and the things that I think are really interesting, maybe things that you missed, and then we do questions and we talk about it amongst ourselves.
Yeah, okay, guys, really quickly in chat, I put in chat really quickly her links. And for you people watching this later on YouTube, everything we make links to, we'll have links below on the YouTube as well. Guys, right there is Comic Book Girl. That's her YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, it doesn't cost you anything, people. Just click on it. It's amazing.
$0.
So many people follow me that don't subscribe.
Yeah.
What is with this? We're not going to get married. It's not a commitment. I'm not going to put a ring in your finger.
Right.
Just subscribe, people.
Just subscribe.
So please go to our channel, subscribe, and you can see half the stuff we're talking about right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on there. Like, yeah, if you want to go back and do the book clubs, they're all on there, as well as, my Epic History X-Men series and my biopic show, the Greater Creators show I did too, and all my YouTube content as well. So I do movie reviews, comic book reviews, whatever reviews, TV show reviews. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Game of Thrones was a big one. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
I love anyway, Danika has done so much, and she's an entrepreneur. And there's an a film that she saw, and I saw in the theaters again back in the 80s when I was still living in St. Louis. Which reminds me of another story. I want to digress. We'll get back to it in a second.
Okay.
Is that AKRIA was such an overwhelming, mind-boggling film as a kid when I saw it, that the style of animation and the overwhelming. And as a kid when I saw it, I fell in love with the bikes, like the bikes.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned out, I found out later, years ago, but the motorcycles had different tires. And that film had such an impact that Yamaha did research about making colored tires.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah, Yamaha, because it was such a sensation, and the Japanese market was like, hey, we should do rubber colored tires, because they had them in the anime. Again, they were development, I don't think it really panned out, but
yeah,
that's an impact that it made, that they're like, we got to cash in on this.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I loved it, and then found out years later, of course, Danika much younger than I, but still fell in love with the movie, and she feels it's a story that hasn't been told about the level of work and animation that went into that. So tell us about your Kickstarter, Danika.
Yes. So this will be my first full-length feature documentary, and it's all about Akira, which I believe is the greatest hand-drawn animated film ever created. It was the height of hand-drawn animation. It's never been done before. It'll never be done again like this. It absolutely stands out, and it's so beautiful. And only the Japanese could have crafted something like this, because really the amount of work that went into every single frame of this anime it's astounding. Like, it's really like mind-boggling, and I have so many questions, and I want to know so much more about how it was created. And my documentary will be going over the origins of Akira. It started as a manga series. We'll talk about that, discuss how it became a movie, and then we're going to talk about how it was made and go into some of the processes and how it was animated and like some of like the mind-blowing facts about it. And then we'll be talking about the impact of Akira and how it changed the game. It did so many. I mean, it affected not just like Yamaha tires. It affected so many things. I mean, computer coloring in comic books came from Akira, weirdly enough. And yeah, it's super weird. And so many filmmakers have been influenced by it. There's stories today that are still being made that are obviously influenced by Akira.
Yeah, James Cameron stole 2 or 3 shots from Akira.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's James Cameron.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it's pretty. And I'd love to get him also. We're doing a lot of interviews. For
I tell you what,
Akira,
you might be able to get him.
That's what people keep saying, and I'm
he's
like,
pretty. If he knows what you're trying to do,
right?
Yeah, because I think he's moved with that. Yeah, the explosion in the movie in Terminator 2, the ball of energy is lifted from Akira. Arnold shooting people with flares is from Akira.
Oh yeah. I do.
The riot guy, because
Yeah.
Jim, he said it in an interview, he goes, I howled when I saw it. That's so brutal and funny at the same time.
Yeah, totally.
So,
And I would love to get him. I already have a lot of really cool people though lined up, and like people who worked on the film, people who helped bring it over to America. And I mean, this movie is really the movie that made anime popular in the West. I mean, there were several movies, but this one in particular,
yeah, it drove it home. It really
was
did.
like, oh, whoa, anime's cool. Like, we want to see more of this. So yeah, and I think it's time to talk about it.
Yeah, can you grab that for me, the cardboard thing?
Yeah.
Really quickly, the reason I'm with Danika this is that she's doing her Kickstarter, and I wanted to be a part of it so desperately. So what I'm doing is I'm making this. What is that? That is the Kaneda, right?
Yes.
Kaneda's laser rifle that he tries to kill his friend with. Anyway, I'm a big fan of it, so I am making one right now, fabricating. Wish I had more of it done, but I have. I'll definitely grab her one she made earlier.
Yes.
But we're making this, and what I'm doing is I'm going to be giving this away. And in order to enter to win this, you guys have got to be a donator on Kickstarter. You got to donate. My thing is, I don't know if we set an amount yet or anything like that. I don't matter. I think it's anybody. If it's $5, $10, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you click and submit, puts you on a list for actually winning this. I'm going to work with Danika how we're going to draw the winner.
Yes.
But in order to win this rifle that I am making,
Yes.
it's going to be bad. Trust me, it's going to be so cool. I'm going to put way too much work into it. I promise.
Way too much.
Way too much work.
Always.
Way too much into it. So I'm going to be giving one of those away. I'll be giving one away. So that's part of my deal with her.
Yes.
And again, I would have had it earlier because I have a problem that we both laughed about, is I have too many projects at the same time.
I totally understand.
So I'm doing that, but I wanted to get her on to plug her project and plug Danika on. And so thrilled to have her on the show and her documentary. So what is how much time do we have left on this?
The Kickstarter is now through Halloween, October 31st. It ends at 11:59 Pacific Daylight Savings Time, PM. So right before it hits midnight on Halloween, it'll be done. So you got like 8 days? 8 days to get on it?
Let me grab the link for you guys real quickly.
Yeah. Put that link up there. But yes, we are, let me see, does it say? Last time I checked, we were well on our way to hopefully hitting our third stretch goal. We've hit our initial goal. We've hit our first stretch goal, our second stretch goal, and if we can get it up to $50,000, that'll be our third stretch goal. And for our third stretch goal, I will be doing a sexy Tetsuo with a gross arm cosplay.
Oh my god! Now is that Photoshop or somebody making that?
I don't know yet. I've talked to my friend Jorge about it, and like he does a lot of digital stuff, so it might be some digital, some prosthetic, maybe like a little bit of like blending in between, because his girlfriend also does effects makeup. So it's like maybe if I have them both kind of do a little something. I was at a convention. I didn't see it, but somebody posted pictures of it. He was
Tetsuo, and he foam fabricated this distorted arm and everything.
Yes.
I was like, I saw him like, that's such a great,
it's so
obscure cosplay to do that people need to do more of that. That's
really cool. It's really cool. And I just thought it would be funny, like, because I do a lot of cosplay work and I do a lot of like sexy cosplay, haha, and like doing a sexy Tetsuo with a gross arm, like it really appeals to my sense of humor. Like I just think that's really funny and weird. And so I'm hoping that we can hit that third stretch goal and I can do this bizarre cosplay that nobody asked for.
So to guys show you support, I threw the Kickstarter link in chat right now. So go guys, click on that. $5, $10, what little you guys can. It would be great because we do have a goal. We want to try to get there, and because I really want to see this.
Yeah.
I really want to see our documentary.
I really want to make it too.
I'll aim into that. Now, we earlier, I want to vent a little bit with her because she's a fellow YouTuber. Okay. When I started, of course, I came in, you started in 2012, much earlier than I did. I came by 14. And in 2012, you were still making ad revenue from the ad thing.
Yeah.
And making a lot of money from that. And then by the time I got on, I think that was kind of done. It was already kind of gone.
Yeah.
So when people go, what kind of money do you make in your ad revenue? I'm like, apparently nothing, because I make, tell you guys out there, when I make a video, if I'm consistent, I put a video up every week, which is next to impossible. I'm lucky to get a video up every month.
Yeah.
Let alone, back in the old days, I used to be able to get 2 a month.
Yeah.
For my live streams, I would just cut them down and put them up there, and I make roughly about $100 a month if I was lucky.
Right. If you're lucky, yes, absolutely.
So us YouTuber people, when you guys watch us, we're not really making money from YouTube.
No. I mean, even before the adpocalypse, I was not making a lot off of that. I mean, I was doing all right. It was like, it would make a little chunk, but it wasn't something that like you could live off of. It wasn't something that was like paying all the bills by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
So for me, I've always done things where I have merch, like selling merchandise and doing stuff like that has been, and then having the Patreon, you know, doing that stuff. Like that's been really good.
And this one I want to tell you guys right now, if you like us and you want to keep us alive, please follow us on all our social media. Please buy, for her, click on our links, subscribe, buy merch, get calendars, buy some prints. And for me, I have t-shirts I'm selling. I sell patterns on my website. That kind of stuff helps keep us alive. And also on Twitch, I have a lot of subscribers and followers on Twitch, and she does as well too. So you guys keep coming here on Twitch. And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Costs you nothing. God almighty, costs you nothing.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. And this is something about YouTube. Here's one of my gripes.
Okay.
So it used to be.
Let's do it. Let's open up. Let's go.
I know. Let me get my. It used to be in the old days. They would chronologically, if you subscribe to someone and then you had your feed, they would just show you whoever put a video up in chronological order.
Yep.
And then they trashed that.
I know.
And then now it's like the algorithm kind of picks what it wants you to see. And then you have to press the bell to be notified. So even if you subscribe to someone, you have to have a second click to press the bell. And even within the bell, there's a sub menu that says to be notified all the time. And even then, how do you even know? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like they make it so hard for people to see your videos, and it's really weird.
I'm being educated right now. There's half the stuff she's talking about I don't even know.
It's
so hard to manage. And trying to study the algorithms on this thing because they have access to it, right? Well, if you just study the algorithms, are you kidding me?
And it changes all the time. You can't. It's a nightmare.
Again, I'm not saying that I don't like my YouTube channel account. I'm just saying that I just wish things were better.
Yeah, it's gotten, it's tough on there. It's a little tougher because it used to be very much like about creator driven content. Right. And I think that's changed, especially since the adpocalypse, because I believe that now Google's business model is more about having these big companies like NBC and, Universal or whoever paying them to put their content up there and push their content versus, the ad revenue stuff. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
There, earlier we were talking about the 80s and about movie watching. There's a film I saw when I was a kid. Well, when I was young, in my 20s. And I always saw it in a theater. It was a screening. And they do these things, they used to do it in St. Louis and different cities. They would do screenings for movies before they got theatrical. I mean, they were getting released like the following week, but they do early screenings to get a vibe from people. And I saw this movie, Ken Russell's Lair of the White Worm.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was at the theater, and it was a St. Louis, Missouri. I went to a screening, and it gave me a button on the screen that said "Lair of the White Worms." They get out free swag.
Yes.
So
yes.
Years later, I'm watching, and I found out that Danika found it on Netflix, and she's like, "What the hell is this acid trip of a movie? This is amazing!" And it is. It is wacky. If you guys haven't seen it, I love it.
It's so good.
I
love
love it.
Good.
It's
Do yourself
so,
a favor.
It's so 80s raunch, weird, and it's Ken Russell who makes these weird,
the weirdest
sexual overtones out the wazoo.
So much.
And Danika got the actual worm.
I got a worm puppet. Yes.
Got the worm puppet
from the movie.
And as a kid, I thought the worm was huge. And then when you finally see it, they shot it and they did this great forced perspective thing with the puppet. And anyway, don't blow any spoilers, but there's a giant worm in the movie, and then she owned it and got it and fixed it up. And so, of course, I felt compelled. I contacted her and said, "Look, I have the button."
Yeah.
Sitting around my house in a pile of crap.
I have it on my backpack. Still.
I dusted off.
I still have it on my backpack. It's still on there. But yeah, I was so happy because a friend in England, actually, because it was shot in England.
Yeah.
And so a friend
Grant
had it.
Is it Hugh?
Hugh Grant was in the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And my friend was like, "I have this puppet, but it scares my daughter, and I don't know what to do with it. And you love Lair of the White Worm, so you should have it." So he shipped it to me. And then I had Alec Gillis at Studio ADI, and those boys fixed him up.
And there's a video of that too. If you go to our channel and subscribe, you'll see it.
Yes. And then I felt like I wanted to give him one last hurrah, and I was doing a calendar that year. So I did a cosplay of the woman, Lady Sylvia.
You did. That's
and
right.
then we featured the puppet in the cosplay photo, and he got his last little on film appearance
before he falls apart.
Before he falls apart, because these things are very ephemeral. The foam,
As old as that film goes way back.
Yeah.
And the idea that somebody had it and took care of it that long, it's like, it's the only reason its existence.
It's funny, like she's my lock screen.
Oh, sure.
She's like, she's been my lock screen for years.
I just
like
love,
for years.
I just love the giant, absurd, oversized fangs.
Oh, they're crazy. And it's so like, I remember they weren't even that big, but the ones that I had for the shoot, it's like, you can't close your mouth.
Yeah.
Like
there's things they popped in for that she would pop her head and go, and that's all you could do with them because you couldn't close her mouth.
You can't. It's so crazy. It's so annoying, but it's really fun. And I had so much fun dressing up like her and making that costume. And what a great movie.
It was great, guys. We'll tell you, this is the magic time where we're going to actually take, I know people have been throwing things in chat, so now we're going to take some time out and we're going to chat with you guys.
Give us your questions.
And do some questions. So guys, really quickly, as I sip my coffee, I'm going to move the monitor for Danika so she can actually see what's going on.
Yes.
So you can see a little bit better.
Oh, yes. Cyberwolf's been helping. He's been helping. He's been a great supporter. Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you. Again, thank you for hanging out on my channel and saying hi. So guys, if anybody have any questions for myself or Danika, again, this real big plug is that we're really pushing the AKRIA documentary. This is the main reason for the coffee talk. I'm a big fan of Danika, which is great to have her here on the channel. And I love, because are you going to do another TED talk?
At this time, I don't have any plans to. That came around because just a follower of mine was working with the TEDx committee, and they reached out to me because they were a fan and they wanted me to do it. And so I was like, yeah, sure, like I'll do whatever. But, somebody reached out to me, sure, but I haven't had, it was like one of those things where they just kind of come to you,
Somebody says, are you a comic book creator? Are you a comic creator?
I have created comics. I actually went to Savannah College of Art and Design and have a degree in sequential art. So I have a degree in comic books, literally. And I used to draw and write my own like kind of little indie comic book that I did. It wasn't ever published or anything like that. I just did some self-publishing stuff. And I also worked on a couple of other people I know, like, did a little, some coloring jobs for people here and there. But I haven't done, man, let me tell you, it's so hard making a comic. It's so hard making a comic. Let me tell you, man, it's real tough.
I have a script for a movie I wanted to make. It never happened. And
yeah.
I thought about doing it as a comic. And I had my friend, Aaron, who's a phenomenal comic book artist. And we were going to work on it, but he had to move. So he moved to San Francisco. And I realized, if I'm not with him every day overseeing, like, it's just not going to happen. It's too much work. You want to be involved. So
he says, do I draw like weapon? No, I'm really bad at drawing mechanical stuff, honestly. I'm going to be really real with you. I'm better at drawing like figures, and I'm better at drawing like organic things and like clothes and stuff like that. I'm not as good. I really struggle with the mechanical drawing stuff. It's tough.
I can build better. I can draw.
Yeah.
Somebody said, if you have any advice for inspiring artists? Yes, I do. You ready for this? Just do it.
Just make it. Just make it, baby. Just make it.
Just the thing is, people, how do I start? How do I start?
Yeah.
You just start. The idea of thinking about starting, like, what day can I do? Like, no, skip all that. Just start.
Yeah, just
physically
get down to
start, and you'll learn as you go. I just had a subscriber.
Thanks.
Wizdad. Thank you so much, Wizdad, for your support and subscription. Again, everybody. He understands that we don't make money from anything else, less selling merch or having followers and subscribers. So thank you, Wizdad.
Yes.
All right.
Also, too, it's funny that you talk about just do it, because, like, when I was making that the laser rifle,
go
on. Like, I don't go into these things with this like perfect plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, I need to make this. I get like taken over by this desire, and then
it's so big. We'll try to squeeze it in.
I know, we'll try to squeeze it in as best we can. But I mean, this is all like made out of cardboard and hot glue, and I printed this stuff at home on my home printer. Photoshop.
There's the battery supply thing.
Like fun foam from Michaels. Like, I mean, this is like, this piece right here is just like a mini flashlight. So I mean, you don't have to, like, I don't know, like, a lot of people, I think, they get intimidated. They get intimidated. They look at like other people who, like, even like people like you, who are like, you're really fucking talented and you do really nice, like, professional work, and not all of us are going to be able to kind of achieve that level of perfectionism. And that's okay, man. Like, you can make something out of trash materials and out of stuff, like everyday stuff, like a box and a tube.
She reached out to me a while back. Hey, do you know anybody that has this or anybody made one? Or I thought, well, if I had the time, I'd make it, but I couldn't. And so I reached out to my community. Some people have like really expensive 3D prints. I'm like, no. So anyway, I go to Monster Palooza, and there she is holding this rifle, and I like the 5-foot rule, right? I see it 5 feet away. I'm like, holy crap,
Yeah,
it's amazing. And
right.
I walk up on it, and she's like, it's just cardboard. But even when I was holding it, it was so damn impressive to see it again. Kudos to you, Danika. You're just like, I'm just going to do this myself.
I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And then I just sat down and I did it. And you just figure shit out as you go along. You don't have to have like every little detail figured out. Like just start building or just start drawing or sketching or whatever it is, you know, like, and I do paint as well. Like I paint, I do all sorts of stuff. I mean, and again, I have a painting that I started that I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this new technique. And I was like, oh no, what did I do? And then I had to do the whole thing like that. But now I really like it. And I'm like glad that I kept going and I didn't just give it up.
There's no mistakes. It's happy accidents.
It was a happy accident for sure. I was like, I just made so much work for myself. Why did I start putting this weird stuff on here? But it's totally fine. It's looking great. I'm glad I did it.
What genres is your comics? What is the comics?
It was again, it's self-published stuff. Like it was called Anyways True Tales, and it was about like little vignettes from my life. And I would draw like things like that were ridiculous.
These ever go to print?
No. Again, like it was just stuff that I was like self-publishing, and like I would go to conventions and like sell them at my little teeny booth, my humble booth, and do things like that.
Right.
So that was kind of how I was doing it. But yeah, it was really, and again, I just did it, you know, it's like, oh, I like this. I don't need to wait for a publisher. I'm just going to go to the copy place down the street and print these out and go to a convention and sell them.
Now, again, back to our everyday YouTube. So when you started YouTube, who were you following at the time? Was there anybody you were looking up to, like looking for a model? Like, how am I going to do this? Is there somebody who does anything like I do? Like,
you know what? It wasn't like there wasn't anybody in particular on YouTube that I was following, but I was just thinking like I was partially inspired by, you know, growing up with G4 TV, and there was a lot of
G4 was when it. Oh my god! Okay,
that's a whole other thing in itself.
Right.
But I just remember there was a lot of, you know, women on there, and a lot of times you could tell that they didn't actually know anything about like the thing they were talking. Not all of them. Some of them did know like their business, but some of them did not.
You are so kind.
Know their business, and I was like, I wanted, because that was a gripe that I always had watching it, and I was like, you know, there needs to be a woman on here who actually like knows what she's talking about. And then I was like, oh well, I actually read these comics. I know what I'm talking about. I could be that person, and that was a little bit of the inspiration for doing what I do, you know. And also, Drunk History was something. That was a big inspiration.
My family turned me on to Drunk History.
Yes.
I knew of it and didn't want to watch it, but my wife and the kids were like, Drunk History. I'm like, what? Yeah. And we started. I learned so much history from Drunk History. Because you know what school taught me? Zero. I didn't learn crap about history, but I learned more about history from Drunk History. So.
Well, yeah, and then they're trying to teach you history at like 8 o'clock in the morning. You're like, my brain is not, you know, like I can't. And it's cold. And you're in a hard plastic chair. It's not conducive to learning.
Oh, wait. Of course, she goes, what software do you use for your 3D printing? Have one of you ever used? Here's the thing. I don't 3D print.
You don't 3D print.
I got a 3D printer for a bit from Matter Hackers. I fumbled with it and I gave it to my assistant Peter. And now he has it because I can't wrap my head around the operating. Eventually, when they make them more compatible for old men like myself, I'll do it. Until then, they're not there yet. There's still got a lot of things I have to do. And I do have a friend who has a laser cutter, and I have him cut things for me, but I don't do any CNC or any of that stuff.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't do any of that. I don't.
No, she doesn't. Drunk History is a great.
I love like working with my hand, like you. It's like I just love working with my hands.
I'm not. Yeah. I saw recently you had a body scan done.
I did.
How cool!
It was crazy.
Can we talk about the body scan?
We can. We can talk about it. Yes. So there's a 3D artist, Ara. His last name is long with a K, and I need to look it up.
There's links for it. You follow on social media. Go ahead.
Ara reached out to me, and he was looking for a model because he's doing a no-mon class.
Right.
And he is doing this class where it's kind of taking so there's a thing where you can get body scanned where you're surrounded by over 100 DSLR cameras in 360 degrees.
Wow.
And they all take a picture of you at once. And then all of these pictures are taken, and then this computer program puts them together into this kind of rough 3D model. And then what Ara's going to do is he's going to take that thing and then turn it into something that's usable for animation or for whatever.
So with that, could he 3D print you?
Yes. I could totally have an action figure or a statuette made. And he was down to like, he's like, hey, if you want to do something like that, let me know. And I can like put different outfits or sculpt whatever on you.
Is this something if you could do it, could you mass produce, maybe possibly sell it or something?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. So there's a lot of interesting possibilities to do with this thing. So Horsehead, thank you for subscribing.
Thank you, Horsehead. Guys, again, shout out for my friend on 64 months in a row. Thank you for your subscription and support. Thank you. Everybody, getting it really quickly. A heads up again, recapping. This is Danika on Coffee Talk, and we are talking about her career, all social media. She's puts out content, and we're talking about her body scan, but also, again, everybody, she's doing a Kickstarter for her documentary, the movie, the AKRIA.
AKRIA, the documentary.
And I'm making a laser rifle. And the laser rifle I'm making again really quickly, buddy. It's the laser rifle from the movie. I am making this. I'm gonna be physically giving this away. In order to get in on win this, you have to go to her Kickstarter and donate. Really quickly, I have an Instagram in the chat, guys. If you haven't followed her on Instagram, click on that, get that, because there's images of getting her body scan.
Oh, so, yeah. Ara Kermanikian.
There you go.
Ara Kermanikian.
Yeah, that.
I see. I know.
That, that
I feel so terrible for not like remembering his last name right off the bat. But yeah, he's fantastic. He's such a sweet guy too, and I'm really excited to be a part of a Nomon class. Like being the model for a Nomon class is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty neat. I like
laser rifle. Yeah, again, really quickly, guys. There's the link for that. That's their Kickstarter. Click on that. Donate what you can, and by donating, you get in on the drawing of the laser rifle. And again, I'm giving it away. And again, I'm going to warn you, I'm going to put way too much work into it because I can tell what I'm doing right now. I'm putting way too much into it. So please, you can get that yourself. Please, because I want to see this documentary.
Yes. Is the AKRIA documentary a series? It'll be one 90-minute film, but I'm creating it in mind with like I will be selling it at the end of it, hopefully to some streaming services. So it will be kind of like 30-minute segments, which could be broken down into 3 episodes, but it also works as a full 90-minute film. So that's my, you want to make it to where people can do, streaming services can kind of break it up if they wanted to, or not. They can keep it as one whole thing.
Yes, us as seeing 2Ds become reality. It's wizard magic. Yes, it is. My friend Beverly Downing's just made a costume, but she had herself scanned and she 3D printed herself. And when I watched her do this, she made patterns and then and then took them and blew them up. I'm like,
oh my God, that's so smart.
It's so smart. And I'm like, dang it. So I'm in the process of working with a friend who has access to a scanner, but I want to lose a little bit more weight. I got like, if I'm gonna get a body scan, a scan of my body, I need about a couple more months.
It is very intimate.
You're like, oh, that's me. Is that how my butt looks?
You're like, that's me. Like I'm here, and the camera is seeing every angle of it.
Yeah.
It's
because I saw you guys want to see there's a picture of her on Instagram of her standing in the booth with all those cameras. It's insane.
Yeah.
Do you have to is it instantaneous? Or you have to be really still.
It's instantaneous.
Like a snap.
So yeah, it's just a snap. It's like done. But then they also did a thing where it's like, okay, we have to do your faces. So like do like a smile and do a frown and do a mad face and like do your eyes like really wide open, do a scared face. So it was like we did like 50 faces.
So he has options with the head. So okay, got it.
So it's like they show like all the movements so that they can again make this 3D model that's totally usable, to do whatever.
Right, and again this is what the SAG-AFTRA actors are fighting about because once they have that, they don't need you.
Right, they don't need you anymore.
And
they
with
have
this technology,
I mean, they do, but they,
All right, so that's a big thing. Ain't hiding from the camera 3D like Matrix.
Yeah.
Bullet time.
Yeah. Do you have to be nude for the full body scan? You can be.
If you choose to.
If you choose to be. And I asked them, I was like, well, is that what you need? And they were like, no, just wear like some tight kind of body thing. So I just wore like a nude underwear and bra. And so I just kind of like kept it really. So I had some clothes on.
Okay, fantastic.
A little bit, just enough.
But yeah, show that mug real quick.
Yeah. Sketch Boy.
Sketch Boy, thank you. Is now Phone Fanatic Sketch Boy. Thank you so much for your continued support. Fine, I'm out. All right, bye, Becky. Her boss mug. This is my Matter Hacker mug. again, I tried 3D printing. I'm really not good at it. So again, I'm not saying no to it. I think it's amazing for people who do it. I'm just not there yet. I love making, here's the thing.
It's the tactile.
The tactile thing, and also it's the joy that brings me making something with my hands, opposed to making a file, hitting print and walking away for 4 hours and come back and see that it didn't print right.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And you got 8 hours in. Oh, wait, it didn't print. You have to do it all over again.
Right.
And if that was a job and I had to wait, it get screwed up. So now if I make something, I know that if I get 8 hours, it'll be done.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I just feel like it's the joy of putting something together and like figuring it out, and it's frustrating, and it's it's a lot of things, but the joy of it is I don't know, just making stuff with your hands is cool. Like I like it. I'm a big fan. I took like a 3D in college. I took a 3D class, and that was like one of the hardest classes I've ever taken. I was like crying in the dark. Because like the guy was like, the professor was going way too fast, and he was like acting like you already knew about how to use this program, and I had no idea how to use this program, and I was like, I'm so lost. How am I ever gonna pass this class? Like it was so stressful.
When anybody talks to me about computers, I do the same thing. Like, wait, they're talking as if you understand what they're like, and you're like, stop, and you're like, what? Nope. And they realize, oh wait, it's gonna take me decades to learn this.
Yeah.
Teaching myself 3D modeling was a challenge.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, it's a challenge.
It's definitely a challenge.
It's definitely a challenge. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm not somebody who is like really like, some people can just pick up computer programs really fast, and that's not something that I am the best at.
Right. And the thing is, just to recap on for all you people out there and new to making, and to be asked earlier about how do we get into making, how you start, like, is that some people pick up things faster than others.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes longer, but that's not the reason not to do it. And be intimidated by somebody else. Because I always tell people, there's hammers and a saw, and people can adapt very quickly with them, or they struggle with them. Yeah. But over time, you will get better with them.
Yes.
I suck when it comes to electronics and editing. And then, like Danika, when I started, I realized I had to do everything myself. And I got Adobe Premiere.
Oh, yeah.
And when you want to talk about intimidation and how to learn,
yes.
I went and joined this website called lynda.com. And the woman that taught gave me so much information, my head was going to explode.
Yeah.
And I was freaking out, like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And so my friend Holly Conrad, Holly, when she still lived here, she's like, I said, oh, I know Adobe. So she came over to my house and sat down with me for an hour, walked me through the basics. And by the time she leaves, I was editing my own videos. Yeah. And then once I got the basics, and the more you start learning, experimenting as you're editing, you get better and better. My videos are so much more. I can't watch my earlier videos; they're painful.
Yeah. So and there's like a YouTube tutorial for anything you need to know.
They're much better than lynda.com.
Oh wow!
Don't do that site. It was terrible.
I know. Learning to figure out Premiere was really. I was like, oh, but I did it, and that's not something I'm good at, but I did it, and I'm glad that I did, because I am a good editor. I may not be a good somebody who's like good with computer programs, generally speaking, but I do understand the art of editing and timing and putting things together and how to transition them.
And fade and cuts.
Yeah, fading, cuts, like putting in your music, putting in your stuff like that. Because I watched my ex do it for like, over the course of our whole show. I was always over his shoulder watching him while he edited. And so I had a basis of understanding of how to do that part of it.
So I have a question here. Do you build circuits on your costumes like lighting and other electronics? No, I do not. What I do is I put an LED, wire it to a battery, and you plug it in and put a switch off and on, and that's it. That's it. I don't the Arduino, there's all these little codes and things, and a lot of people, it's like, I eventually want to learn about that, but again, I find the older I get, I have to start delegating time throughout my day, because I'm realizing if I want to do something and I want to add something to my schedule, I have to put like I'll put X amount of time for this, and that's it. But in that span of time, if I don't do anything with it, it's gone. Like I know Seinfeld says that he has X amount of hours a day to write a joke. Yeah. And he says, and if he doesn't, he checks it off. Like, I didn't do a joke that day, but he goes, that's his time for a joke. Right. And you have to set time up for it. And I realize that's what I have to start doing for things I want to learn. I want to learn Sketch Lab. There's a drawing program, SketchUp or something like that. So you can SketchUp. Yep. SketchUp. And I want to learn it. I just have to find the time to do it.
Yeah, a lot of comic book artists use SketchUp, actually, because they're like, oh, you want to have like a helicopter that's crashing in your thing, and you can get a helicopter model and you can pose it any way you want,
Right.
and then you can have a reference for that. Because I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but there's a lot of shortcutting when it comes to comics, and you don't have time to sit there and think about how to do it from your brain, and it's just easier to kind of have a sketch and then go over it, and then you can modify it however you want. But people get mad when they think about it. They're like, oh, you're not drawing everything from your head. Well, then it's bullshit. And it's just like, these people are making such little money. Like, comic book artists make so little that they don't have time to do that.
No, not at all. Oh, sorry, the question is, do you use blueprints when making costumes? No, I make my own patterns, but I won't lie, I am lazy. So if I start to build something, I'll search the internet for a pattern that's close to what I want. And do it, but otherwise, half the time I find if I waste too much time looking for the pattern, I could have just made it by that time. I wasted looking for it. Right. So it's like, there's like, why am I? There's a level of laziness, and also I just like why am I can do it. I can just make it myself. So I ended up just started making my own patterns.
Yeah.
So yeah, and when I do, for example, for my website, the patterns I sell, I design them and make them, and then I draw them onto a piece of poster board.
Yes.
I scan them and ship them to a guy in Chicago, the modifier. He takes them, cleans them all up, puts the instructions on them, and they look beautiful.
Nice.
And I pay him for that because I don't have the time for it, and I could learn it, but I'm like, no, just pay somebody to do it. So
yeah, you gotta learn the art of delegation for sure.
And I'm not that much of a control freak on some things. There's some things I am.
Yes.
But when it comes to making something better or clean up, I just let him do it. So
yes, for sure.
You give yourself files. What's that? Let's give your Angel Wings. I know. Oh, somebody else talking. I'm sorry. Now I'll definitely wrap up. I'll ask you a question. It says, how long does it take you to complete a costume? Oh,
depends on the costume, right?
Right. Normally in the industry, it's usually 30 days. I always find if I build something, it's about a month.
Yeah.
A month or more, but the window, especially if you're starting with something you never did before, and your R&D as you make it, it might screw up. You might go backwards. Like it just, usually about a month. But if you're doing it for a client, it has to be perfect. That's almost 2 months.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, a month for yourself, but you're building for a client. You better pad it for 2 months, and that's why I don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I build for me now.
I build for me.
Well, guys, we're getting close. We got 17 minutes left, but if anybody has any burning questions for Danika, what else do you want to reiterate or push to people?
Let's see. What else is there? So
What do you got cooking?
Well, besides the AKRIA documentary Kickstarter, if you are a fan of Dune, Frank Herbert's Dune.
Yes.
I just released a full-length album, Dune Wave Odyssey, and my friend Akira the Dawn and I teamed up, and I took quotes from across all 6 Dune books, and I arranged them into songs, and then I spoke them using my Bene Gesserit voice, and then he put music behind them and made them into bops, and so we've got like 16 songs on an album, all using Frank Herbert quotes from Dune.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
We got a lot of bangers like Trust No Government. That's a good one coming into the new, the political cycle we're going into with the elections. We've got Balanced Judgment, Past Which Never Existed. I mean, there's all sorts of bangers on there, filled with wisdom, filled with Frank Herbert's wisdom. If anyone was ever like, if I was on a blind date with someone and they were like, what is your political, philosophical, spiritual, I'd be like, listen to Dune Wave Odyssey, baby. It's all on this tape, okay? And right now we do have CDs and cassette tapes available as well as other merch.
And where can they find this at?
You can find this, that's a great question. It's on Akira the Dawn's website. It's not on my website.
Oh, it's not on your website.
It's not on mine. I know. It's like, I'm sorry.
I was going to grab a link.
But it's, you could look up, let me see. I think it's just akirathedon.com. It should be on there. But it's also like, if you just want to download it, it's on, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Bandcamp, whatever you want to download music on, it's on there. So,
well, guys, really quickly, if you click on her, I threw her Instagram chat. In chat, click on her Instagram, and she has a link tree in her Instagram account. So if you guys want to see what else I think she has, you definitely get on. But it's really easy just to go ahead, click on that, and give her a follow, and therefore you have it at all times. Therefore, if you want to follow up on certain things, the link tree is in there.
Yeah, and you can also hang out with me on Saturdays on Twitch.
That's right. And so you Saturday Twitch at what time?
3:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we watch movies together. It's Mystery Danika Theater, and this week, usually I let my Patreon people vote on the movie, but
that's nice.
But I was feeling like I've been feeling a little down lately, and I just wanted something for myself, and so I have kind of decided what we're watching this week, and we are watching Basket Case.
Oh my!
And I'm so excited to watch Basket Case. I love that movie. I can't wait to share it with you because a lot of people haven't seen it, and it's like the best worst movie you'll ever watch.
And you know what's so funny is that film was such a passion project. The guy that directed made it. He lives in New York, and it's. I'm not spoiling it too much. He has a twin brother in a basket. So the director said he wants to take place in this like sleazy motel in New York City. He was going to rent a motel room. He said he found some that were so sleazy that if he shot the movie, people would have thought it was a bad set. It was just.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and he said he goes.
He goes.
I ended up having to go to a place that was relatively nice because the places were so bad in New York. People were like, oh, what a cheap set.
Right. But my Twitch is Danika XIX, so you can follow me, at Danika XIX on Twitch, on Twitter, on Instagram.
And again, guys, just go to the Instagram and it has all those on the link tree. So click on that, go to the Instagram, click on that, follow her, and it has a link tree. What's this? Saw you at a Shaolin monk on Instagram. Do you do Kung Fu? What do you do?
I do. I study. I'm learning the basics of Kung Fu, but I study at the Shaolin Temple here in Los Angeles, and so I was there this morning doing meditation and qigong, and then I also do the body conditioning class, and. Yeah, so I'm a part-time disciple at the Shaolin Temple.
That explains
That's what this was about. When I became a part-time disciple, there was a ceremony, and they didn't say you have to do it, but
but it's a part of your commitment.
Right. Yeah, it's like my commitment, and so and it's like rebirth, into the Song of Family and everything. So,
I did the same thing. It's called old age. My hair fell out, so I still have that same vibe.
Yeah, but it's northern Shaolin style. It's not like one particular animal. It's like you learn like all the different. There's 18 animal movements. I've been learning the animal forms, but yeah, it's a lot. But again, baby steps because it's like to really learn it. It takes a lot of
a lot of repetition, a lot of training.
Yes, a lot of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Fantastic, guys. Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. We're gonna get this, guys. This has been fun. Thank you everybody for hanging out today and showing up and. Hearing us rant. We're gonna wrap it, but before we wrap things up, one more time, I'm gonna plug that I am making this. I'm making the laser rifle for the AKRIA documentary. And how do you get in on the giveaway? We're gonna be giving that away. And so how to join is to go over to Danika's Kickstarter and donate what you can.
Yes.
It won't. We're not asking you to break your pocketbook.
And for us to know that you did this, just send me a message saying that you came from Evil Ted.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, just send me a message on Kickstarter after you donate saying, oh, Evil Ted sent me, and I'll put you on the list.
Yep.
And then once the Kickstarter is over, we'll do a drawing, and then you can win.
That's right. Yay. The rifle, which is not done yet, but I'm working on it.
Which is not done yet, but it will be done, and it'll look glorious.
Because we are laughing that I'm very relieved to hear that she does multiple projects at the same time.
Oh my gosh, it's a problem. It's a problem.
It is a problem. I need to I get excited about something.
Yes.
And it takes a little bit longer, but then while I'm doing that, I can start this. And then, and then they can do this. And then, so right now, I have a costume. There's a Halloween party coming up, and I want a costume. I have this old costume up. So I want to revamp that. But then BlizzCon's happening, and I'm going to that. Okay. And so I want to have that costume. So I'm like, I want to get this upgraded. But I want to have this rifle.
Wait, what's your Halloween costume?
Oh, it's the Red Demon. I have this Red Demon character. I'll show it to you. Guys, for you guys know, if you go to my website, eviltedsmith.com, I have it in my cosplays. It's the Red Demon. You'll recognize you see it, but I'll definitely show it to you before you leave.
I'm excited. Are you going to the Autonomous party? What party are you going to?
Autonomous? Yeah. You going there? Yeah, I'll be there.
I'll be there too. Hey!
There it is. So we're going to the same Halloween party. How funny!
It's the cool Halloween party.
Cool Halloween party.
It is the cool Halloween party.
Because everybody that goes there are makeup artists, professional makeup. So the level of costume, it's crazy. It's so off the roof.
It's so good. It's so good.
So
I'm so glad Jason's doing it this year. I'm just like, thank you, Jason. Thank you so much.
I love Jason. I just got done. I worked with Jason on American Horror Story.
Oh wow!
I did the spider. Yeah. Campaign.
Awesome.
So I just got done doing that.
That's so cool. Yeah, I used to intern for them a long time ago. So many many moons ago I turned for autonomous.
Here's a funny story. Jason was my assistant when I was working at K&B.
What? Hilarious.
Yeah, and like I
didn't even know you knew Jason. That's so funny.
And so Jason and I stayed friends, and he took off and started his makeup company.
Yes.
And we always stayed in.
Yes.
And reach out, and he always would reach out to me about the time I was working at the prop house. And then when I was not working at the prop house, he goes, "Hey, I got this thing I got to do. Are you available?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I came in and we developed like, and it was like I walked to his shop. I'm like, "Oh my god!" So then he's like, "Hey Ted, I'd like you to work here." I'm like, "I would love to." And then strike.
Yeah.
So again, once this strike is over, I'll be back.
Yeah. I know.
All right, guys. Well, again, everybody, thank you again so much for hanging out with us today.
Yes.
Danika, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
To hang out. Guys, again, real quickly, guys, again, the Kickstarter, you clicked on that. Also, click on her Instagram and give her a follow. And while you're at it, if you're new here, don't forget to follow me. And go to her, what's your YouTube channel again?
Comic Book Girl 19. Comic Book Girl 19.
I'll tell you what, let's do it one more time. I'm just going to do that shameless plug.
Subscribe to me over there. There's a commercial for the AKRIA Kickstarter over there, as well as the Dune Wave full album is on there. And then you can also see my most recent video, which is 2001: A Space Odyssey Explained in 2001 Seconds. And I'm trying this week to hopefully have a review out of one of my favorite horror comics, Tomy by Junji Ito.
I think it's comic books in?
Yeah, it's a manga. It's a big, thick manga. And,
Nice.
and it's so good. She's so evil. She's such a fucking evil bitch. Like, she's an evil bitch monster. And, like, it's so great. I love it.
Again, I threw it in chat real quick. There it is on the YouTube channel. Click on that. Subscribe. It costs you nothing, people. Please.
No, it costs a click.
It costs a click.
It costs you a click.
Again, we're not gonna put a ring in your finger and marry you. Just please subscribe. All right, guys. Thanks so much. We're gonna wrap this up. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Another great way you can show your support, you can pick up some of my merchandise on my Teespring shop.